So the time has come to talk about Avengers Age of Ultron. Are you excited? Yes! I can't wait! So then let's get to it. So I want to start off by welcoming you all to my new format. As you can see on the side here, there's a bar with topics in it that structures my new reviews. At any moment you want to jump ahead or go back, just press the buttons on there and it should work. That being said, I start off with a synopsis, so McBain, if you please. So Avengers Age of Ultron tells the tale of our group of superheroes that come together to face the evil force known as Ultron. The movie opens up with a heavy action sequence where the group goes to reacquire Loki's scepter from the first film. Thor, then before taking it back to Asgard, allows Stark and Banner to run some tests on it. Stark feels like the alien technology could be adapted into his peacekeeping robots. But unbeknownst to them, they end up giving birth to Ultron. It's the classic tale of robots rising up and turning against their masters. Ultron, of course, his plan is to wipe humanity off the face of the earth and cleanse it. Unfortunately, his plans are challenged when the Avengers rise to Earth's defense. Interesting. So let's talk about some of the positives. What did you think about it? I thought Avengers Age of Ultron was simply awesome. It was action-packed. It had some very cool fight scenes in it. The Hulk versus Iron Man was one of the best fights ever put to film. I want to see this movie over and over again. It was like riding a roller coaster. 10 out of 10, baby. Yeah, one of the best movies of the year. Wow. So, was the story okay? Oh yeah, it was cool. Typical fanboy response. So let's continue on with some of the positives. This film does have a lot of interesting visuals in it. Some of the fight scenes were just spectacular. You can tell that they were shooting very high for some very specific shots. Like the opening shot of them flying through the air all together that we've seen in the trailers was just, it's poetry in motion. The big fight scene between Hulk and Iron Man in the Hulkbuster armor was awesome. It was cool. Beyond that, all the characters had some really good interactions with each other. Seeing Stark with Banner working in the lab together, that was cool. Because typically in Iron Man movies, he's working by himself. Captain America and Iron Man have some good scenes together. Thor and Captain America have some interesting dialogue between each other. And it was nice, and I appreciated the budding romance between Banner and Black Widow because it opened the door for more character development. Hawkeye this time around has more to do. We get to see what's going on with him and what's motivating his involvement with the Avengers. I thought the addition of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were cool. I really liked both the castings of them. Scarlet Witch at times used her abilities to put the characters into dreamlike states, and those dream sequences were used in creative ways to show us characters from past installments. It was in Captain America's dream sequence where I actually gasped, and it had to do with the fact that the world is such a beautiful place. At times, you just have to marvel at all of its creations. So let's move on to some of the negatives. There were aspects of Ultron that I really liked at first glance. However, upon thinking about it, it was kind of like, well, yeah, we've seen this stuff before. And his introduction was rather fast. I understand that AI wakes up quickly, but he gains his bodies rather quick. Like, I felt like there were a few missing scenes that would have helped fill in the gaps. Ultimately, Ultron was a one-note character, and that's doable, like in the sense of a Terminator, but I felt like he wasn't as menacing as a Terminator. The pacing of this film was very fast. This movie was 2.5 hours long, and it easily could have been 3. I mean, this is the big movie where all the heroes come together. I felt like audiences could have handled a 3-hour installment. The pacing of it is just, it's so fast, just not in the action, but in the dialogue too. Like, people react to each other so quickly. It felt like we didn't have time to internalize some of the information that they were giving us. And I know I'm going to take some flack for this, but I have to fault the director for that. I felt like he did a good job. He did a good job at taking all the material that was there and cramming it into 2.5 hours. But let's think about that. He was cramming stuff in. And when you cram stuff in, then you take the focus off the crux of the story. Like, we took time to explain why certain characters were not there. We took time with long establishing shots on characters that were not the main ones. And when you do that, you lose out. So I have to dock the director for that, and I can't give him full points. And talking about points, let's move on to the scoring. Typically, this is where I would talk about my 5 factors, but I've updated it to 6 now, and I've removed my personal points altogether. So let's just get to it. Acting, directing, and story now are worth 2 points each, and acting I gave a 1.5 because I felt like the acting was good, but there were no exceptional pieces in it that made me go, wow. Directing, as I mentioned before, there were a few pacing issues, so I can't give full points to it, but it was impressive with the amount of stuff that was going on and the cinematography that was executed in it. I gave it a 1.5 out of 2. The story was serviceable for what it was. I wish it would have been just a little bit more focused, so I gave a 1 out of 2 for that. Cinematography and score are now out of a possible 1 point each. The cinematography, as I said before, there were shots in this that were exceptional. There were things that, imagery that you just take away from it that's just mind-blowing. So a full point, 1 for cinematography. The score, it wasn't terrible, but there were no memorable pieces in it, so I gave it a 0.5 out of 1. And that brings us to the final category, which is called the watchable factor, and that's out of 2 points. The watchable factor is basically how much you can watch this movie. And that's pretty much what my personal points were. So what that means is, well, do you want to watch it or do you want to own it, pretty much? And this movie does have a high watchable factor because you will want to watch it again, either for reasons that you missed some information or you like the action scenes. And it's just a spectacular, summer popcorn flick. So, adding all that up, that gives us a score of 7 out of 10 for Avengers Age of Ultron in my movie review. One more caveat here before I close is that this is a hard movie to review because all the fans are going to go watch this movie. People who really enjoyed the first movie and other movies in this universe are going to go watch this movie. And some of them are going to have the typical response that McBain did in the positives section of this review. Like, I find it hard to believe that there are people sitting on the fence out there waiting to decide to see this or not based on somebody's review. It's a movie where if you haven't seen the first movie or any other movies in this universe, you're going to have trouble following it, I believe. You have to know who some of these characters are to fully appreciate what's going on within it. And if you're coming into it without knowing anything, at the very least, you're going to be seeing some action scenes that will totally blow you away. Okay, so that's my review for Avengers Age of Ultron. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe.